Hello, hello, and happy day to you. Welcome to the Fit of Freedom Project. I am Dr. Deb, and I'd like to welcome you to my show. On this show, we are bringing you real people with real solutions to the problems that we are facing here on earth. We are facing a lot of problems, and one of them is grief. And so I am so excited today to bring to the stage my sister, who is a grief counselor, grief mentor. She is a mental health professional and practitioner. And I'm going to bring her up here now. Yes, this is
Yes,
Kelly Taylor. How are you, sister?
I'm doing wonderful. What a beautiful intro.
Yeah, well, thank
Yay.
you. And thank you so much for accepting my invitation. I'm so honored to have you here. And I'd like to read your bio for everyone so they can know who you are. This is Kelly Buffaloe Taylor, my heart sister. She is a pioneer advocate of self care and the founder of I Heal Tap, a grief and bereavement wellness service. She's a certified grief counselor who empowers her clients with insights into grief, promoting boundaries and self care during the healing journey. After experiencing the unexpected loss of her husband, her first husband in 1999, she recognized the need for more comprehensive assistance. Inspired by her journey, she initiated empowering programs, including a funeral aftercare program. I love that. And the original bereavement care basket concept. She introduced that in 2001. Today, the basket is a box and is simply called the grief kit, a thoughtful gift that's designed to offer comfort and support to the grieving by conveying sentiments when words fail the sender. Sometimes we just don't have the words. This collection is thoughtfully curated with healing in mind. It serves as a testament to Kelly's commitment as an author and a grief mentor. Kelly has devoted countless hours as a hospice volunteer. Additionally, she holds a master's degree in public relations as well as a bachelor's degree in health and human services with a concentration in death and dying. She received certifications in grief counseling in 2003 and most recently became a certified death doula and emotional freedom technique practitioner. And might I add, she is a new author. She just wrote her first book, which is a griever's journal. This is why we're here. Yes, I am so proud of you. And I
Thank
am so
you.
grateful that you have created this journal and the purpose for why you are creating this journal. Listen, one thing is for sure, right? Taxes and the transition, what we know as death. That's going to happen. And so the fact that you have created these programs and you are a grief mentor and that you are serving the community in such an amazing way. So I'm going to get right down to some questions, which is we got to
Thank
tell the audience how we met. You know,
you.
I'm always coming to you for this story. Okay. How did
Yes.
we meet?
So
In your
I'll just preface this part about myself and how we met. I was in the military, and going into the military, I was so distraught because I could not wear mascara. I'm a mascara girl, been a mascara girl all my life, and we met over mascara. So
I sold some
you
mascara, girl.
yes, I did too. We sold a lot of
We
mascara.
sold a lot of mascara.
That mascara was good and it
Yes.
was true until they changed the formula.
Yes.
And then that was it for the mascara. But we stayed friends. We stayed
Yes.
connected. I guess that was in August. I had only been in Charlotte since May, like Memorial Day weekend is when I moved here in
Mhm.
2014. So by August, we met. By December, I was at your house with a house full of strangers with cupcakes. You all singing happy birthday to me. I'm like, who are these people? That was so kind. I never met people like this. Okay, I like Charlotte. You even
Yes.
helped me get a part-time job.
Yes.
Hey, I could
I
you were like
love that.
my Charlotte angel.
Yes, it was destined to happen, you know, and I'm so glad. I do remember that too. Yes, we did celebrate you. It was your birthday. Yes,
Hmm.
and you were coming to a unique or mascara event, so of course we had to do that.
Yes.
So I want to ask you, what inspired you to focus so wholly on grief work?
Yeah. Losing my husband, of course, was just one of those life jolting moments where you just don't know. And no one looked like me. I didn't know what to do. So I was an adult, an adult learner. So I was already in school. I was going to be this regular social worker. But when he died, I'm like, hey, give me some death and dying classes. So my emphasis became death and dying. So it was because of my own turmoil, because it was just awful, that I just took a deep dive into learning about death and dying. I did an
Mhm,
internship with the hospice program.
mm,
I had to do a live program for my practicum, which I went back to the funeral home that funeralized Rodney, is his
mm,
name. And I presented to them this aftercare program, and they were like, hey, not only do we love what you're doing, we give you, do what you got to do, but we want you to come back and do this for us. And so
mm,
I said, I want to be an employee of yours, but I will work on I think they gave me a 1099. So I wanted to be
mhm.
like a freelancer. And that's been since 2001. And
Wow.
I can't get away from it. I have tried to walk away, but I just always say, this is my hard work. It is my purpose. Has
Mhm,
to,
mhm.
because it just won't leave me.
Yes,
Oh
yes, being a certified death doula and,
gosh.
the people in hospice, I had to experience that. They are just so kind. They really help you and support you through that process. And
Mhm.
yeah, that I'm really thankful. What are some common misconceptions about grief?
Well, I think that people who have not had an experience of something really, losing someone that was very very close, or let me just stop. The misconception, I think, is that grief is something everybody does it the same way. Total misconception. We all do it, but we all do it very differently. Some of us can just, like put some icing on a cake and keep on going. Others are just still trying to make the cake, and it's taking 6 months to make it. So the misconception is that we all grieve the same.
I totally agree with that. Whenever my daughter's father made his transition, she was younger then, but children even grieve differently than
Yeah.
adults. And
Hmm.
so I learned that then because I was expecting something, and then I learned that it was something else because that's the way they process it. So you're right. We totally grieve differently. How does your programs address that? How does your programs address that one common misconception?
So basically, just meeting everybody as an individual wherever they are, and
Mm,
then being non judgmental, being very, just having major compassion. And that would be the main thing, is just to be very compassionate and slow. You got to go
mhm.
slow with the people. You can't move them along. You have to go at their pace.
Yeah,
And then
that's gonna
being able to recognize when, it is something that could be maybe too detrimental to them, or if it's just too extreme, then you move
mhm.
to the next step. But just going slow.
Yes, taking your time. Everybody has their own barometer and their own time that they grieve. But what I wanted to ask you is peer support, how important is peer support through the grieving process? Is that important?
It is, but you have to also identify with the right peer. Everybody isn't privileged to be in that space. I liken that space of grief to be very sacred. So, yes, it's very important, but it has to be identified. The right peers support has to be identified.
I think that's important as well because grief can bring triggers in other people, because somehow we have always, all of us experience grief in some sort of way or loss. So you're right. That's important. The right type of support network is
Mhm.
really, really important. What unique techniques that do you use to help people through this grieving journey?
So the most unique is the emotional freedom technique. I remember when I exposed that to you for the first time, and you nearly cursed me out because you were like, "Why are you just not sharing this with me? Why haven't you told me about this before?" It is so profound that it has the ability, by tapping on these uh, points, these nice little oh, I can't even think of the name of it right now. You know, when you're all on stage, you get nervous. Meridian points are what they're called. And they actually go into organs in your body. And so as you're tapping and you're talking, and then next thing you know, you're like, oh, I feel so much better, because it's like a yoga class. After you finish, you're like all, loose and calm and relaxed. So I love to end my sessions with some emotional freedom techniques. And a lot of times I don't even tell my clients, I just let them be surprised.
Okay, okay, that's nice. Yeah, you're right, because I was selling lashes and I was somewhere in Salisbury and was at an event. There was a big event, so there were other professionals there, and there was a lady there, ETF or EFT
Yeah.
practitioner, and she was tapping, and I'm like, "What?" Like, and she was telling about the benefits of it, and then lo and behold, here you come, a practitioner. And I was like, wow. And tapping it helps a lot with anxiety.
Mhm. Yes.
At least it did for me. So,
Mhm. Very, very
yes. So,
much.
is that how you came up with your I heel tap?
Yes. I
Okay.
did some extensive studies. Oh gosh, hours and hours of practicum and classwork. And then I just, one day it just hit me, I heal tap, and I'm going to heal you by tapping. So I heal tap, is that what it came from? A lot of people are like, what is all that? What does that mean? But it has significant meaning. And it's because
Yes,
of
I
that
love
technique.
it. I do. I love that. So, have you gotten feedback? What feedback have you gotten from your clients um, that you have served to highlight their outcomes and to highlight your program? Like, have people like say, "Oh my God, this has changed me. This is done." Like you, I'm sure you see success, but what are clients saying?
It blows me away to hear. So here's my thing. I have clients who come from all different walks of lives. I've had pastors, and then I've had PhDs. I had this scientist, and she's so smart. And I was almost, ha- I'm not insecure, but maybe, I don't know, but I wasn't totally confident working with her, because I knew she was so smart. And I'm like, does she really need this? Because she's smart enough to get herself out of this bag. Grief is a tricky thing, and even this really smart lady, she really broke me down, and she's like, I couldn't have done this without you, and the questions that you asked have not been asked before, or I sleep better now, or I was able to just, oh, Dr. Deb,
Yeah,
I can't even
countless.
tell you.
Yeah, yeah, countless. Yeah, yeah, I hear you.
Stories. And I oftentimes I can get off the phone and I just have to lay down, or get off my Zoom session, whatever. And I just lay down, because I put so much of me into my sessions. And then when I get responses, I've come to tears sometimes.
I know
And it's
you.
just like, I've been doing this for so long, but it's like, I should be over this by now. But it's my heart work. So I guess that's why I respond the way I do. But I love the response of my clients.
Yes, yes, and oh my goodness, it has nothing to do with intelligence.
Well, I
Our
just listen.
emotions.
And now she's a minister. I mean, this lady was just so smart. Like this, I was just like, what? Okay, come on.
Well,
Let
I
me
feel like
let
I'm
me
smart too, but if it was not for my therapist over the course of my adult life, I don't know if I'd be here. So,
yeah, yeah.
yeah, thank you so much for your work. So, I'd like to know how you actually balance providing the emotional support for people and then or against empowering them.
Yeah,
Because
that's
sometimes we can
important.
get like connected to that emotional support and
Mhm.
and it could be dependency. But how do you balance that with empowering them?
So
With their own strategies, their
I
own
have,
coping strategies.
but I've not yet had a client like that. Thank God. I don't know what it is. I don't know what I'm projecting, but I don't get clients like that. Like
Oh, wow.
I am when I say I am all about self-care and boundaries, we are establishing boundaries in the beginning.
In the beginning.
This is your work. This is yours. You are in control. That's what I say. You're in control. This is yours. This is yours. I give it all back. It's not mine. Don't I can't do it. It's yours.
Well, you know what? What are you doing? You are setting the tone for
Hmm.
your practice. You're also setting the tone in your energy space.
Yeah,
So
have
you
to.
are going to attract those clients because you've
Mhm.
already put that in your energy field. I just love that. Yeah,
Thank you.
that lets
Thank
us
you.
know that whatever we think about, whatever we say, it will come to us, right?
Hmm.
So
Hmm.
good. Well, that brings me to your self-care practices because how do you care about yourself? This work,
Yeah.
grief work, can be very taxing on our heart, especially if it's your heart work. We're not even doing this work for money. You know what I mean?
Right,
How
because
do
it
you
doesn't
take
pay a
care
lot
of
at all.
you?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, let me just say one thing, and then I'm going to tell you about my self care. But I want to give you a story. I had clients, a mother and son, and the brother and son of these two was murdered, and the sadness was so, heavy. Naturally, who wouldn't? But the son was in such a dark place, and I was somehow empathetically taking on his energy. And I got off of a conference with him, and I could not stand up. And I knew then I had to stay. The client is here. I got to stay right here because I was right up here with him. And it's like, you know what? That energy was too heavy for me. So anyway, that those kind of things happen, but never as serious as that one case. But I protect myself now doing sessions by lighting candles, having some water, or having some kind of stone. I have to have something around me to protect me during sessions because I know I have this history of being an empath. But outside of that, I have created, along with my husband, an oasis in my backyard. And I spend a lot of time outside. I do a lot of meditating. Uh, when it's hot, I swim. When it's cold, I walk around the perimeter of the pool to pray. I sit on a bench. I do, I try to remain flexible with myself. So if I have plans to do something and I don't feel like doing it, then I won't. But I really pay a lot of attention to myself, and I check in with me. How do I feel? What do you want to do today? And I basically do whatever I want. I'm an empty nester. My daughter has children, but she takes very good care of her children, so I don't have to. I'm not a babysitter for anybody. So I try to live my best life, and then I make these purses out of cigar boxes,
Yes,
and
yes,
these
yes.
purses keep me busy and takes my mind off of everything when I'm rolling with these purses.
Mhm. That's good. Yeah, because you need something that is
Yeah.
going to take your mind off of it. It's going to help you to be more creative.
Yeah.
And I really love that. So I see that you incorporate, because one of my questions is, do you incorporate spiritual beliefs and spiritual practices within your program? So I see that you do that for yourself. Do you incorporate spiritual practices within your program?
I ask my clients where they are on their spiritual journey. And then I ask
Mm.
them also, who do you pray to? And then, if, of course, if they say they pray to God, they pray to Jesus, that aligns with how I myself pray. So I ask them sometimes, before we even start, do you mind if we pray? Other times, if it's not in their, if that's not a spiritual practice for them, I allow them to do whatever it is that they have to do just to center themselves. But we always do some deep breathing and just some quiet meditation before we get started.
Mm-hmm. Perfect. Do you serve children?
I do not.
Mm-hmm.
I'm
Why?
I I I want to. I like children.
I like them too. We don't have to serve them. There's many people, there's plenty of practitioners that love to work with you. It's not your, that's not your game.
What was the meme that was going around on the internet? Wow, let somebody else do it. I don't want to do it. Yeah, I don't. No.
I know. I can tell you why I couldn't. It was hard for me to serve him because I'm like, I just want to hug him. I just want to hug
Yeah.
him and hold him, and then all of a sudden you're not employing any practices or strategies. I just want to just put you on my chest and be your mama.
I think that it would make me angry. If I heard things I didn't like, I think that I would probably be inserting myself in ways in which wouldn't be professional. So, no.
Mm-hmm.
I worked for a funeral home for 8 years in Virginia. And the eighth year that I decided to come out of there was because there was a kid that had been murdered accidentally by his cousin with a gun. And
Mm-hmm.
I always went to the morgue because I'm creepy like that. I don't know why, but I would go and look at the corpse. And when we as an adults die, our organs are becoming brown and gray sometimes. But this kid, his organs were so white and pink and pretty, and it just made me so sad. I'm like, I can't do this anymore. It was a kid that made me leave the funeral home. So no, I'm not working with children.
Well,
No.
that's okay. I love the fact that we have the power to choose. I want to
Yes.
get into
Thank
the
God.
I want to get into the journal because this
Uh-huh.
is really an important journal. It is a griever's journal. I'm not going to give it all away because you definitely it's on where is it? Amazon.
Amazon, Barnes and Noble, and then you can also find it at ihealtap.com.
Yes, yes, yes. So we definitely want to get into this. It's just a couple things that just really stood out for me. And one is treating your grief like a new baby.
Yes.
Yes, I mean, I never even thought of that, Kelly. Like,
Yes.
why
I
are you
coined
saying
that. That is mine. I probably
that?
should copyright it.
Yes.
I'm always trying to find analogies, uh, somehow how to relate this to that. Like I talk about dental records, and I talk, your dental records being so different when it relates to your grief. But okay, um, everybody needs to take care of themselves, right? And then some people don't know how to take care of themselves when they're grieving. They're like, well, how do I do that? So I'm like, well, everybody knows how to take care of a baby or a puppy. So when people say I don't have children, I've never had children. Have you taken care of a puppy? Have you experienced a niece or a nephew? And so I say, what does that baby need? And then we go, through everything that we can think of, and then we make them. I encourage them to do the same for themselves. So a baby needs to eat every couple of hours. So you make a food schedule and you meal plan, or a baby needs some tummy time. So maybe that means you go have a massage or you go do some yoga. But we just turn all these baby needs and flip them into adult needs. That makes sense, right?
Yeah, listen, yes, it stood out to me. I was like, and I really thought about it, how you nurture a baby. That's exactly just exactly what you said. So,
Yeah, your
yeah,
grief is new. You've never grieved, and for people who've never grieved before. So yeah, it's something new.
just the fact that you're saying for people who've never grieved before, because there are some people and don't know how to do it. I
Yeah.
like the fact that you have journal entries in here. It gives people exercises. I think that that's important. I'm not giving everything away. You have some terms in here and definitions for people to understand exactly what is grief.
Yeah.
what does that mean? And then, sometimes we don't know ways that we can honor our loved ones. So you have listed some ways to honor your loved ones in here. And my favorite is the self check-ins. Why is that so important?
Because your body goes through so many changes after you've gone while grieving and after you've grieved for a significant amount of time. So you want to know, how do I feel? You want to know how's my hair because sometimes people are stressed, their hair falls out. You just want to know, are you okay? Some One of my clients started grinding her teeth and she was ignoring that. I'm like, no, go fix that because that could subsequently end up to be a very costly fix.
Yeah.
So just how did I sleep last night? When I wake up, how's my stomach? How does how's my breathing? Just your
Here
body
you go.
goes.
What positive steps have I taken towards my healing and processing my grief? What positive steps? Just that question alone, just
Mhm.
asking yourself, what am I doing? Where am I at? I think that's so important to check in. So you guys come from a whole tribe of entrepreneurs over there.
Yeah,
What are
yeah.
what are you and Larry doing? Tell us about these pocketbooks here.
So we are working on some new purses. Um, just follow us at Smoking Repeats on Instagram. But yeah, we have to stay busy. Larry's retired. He is such a creative person. So he really enjoys this. I keep all the money and I'm taking the dinner sometimes, but he does this for me, but he gets some fulfillment out of it. But we take cigar boxes, we deconstruct them, sanding them down, painting them. Larry draws or paints shapes, objects, and we take them to markets like vending events. We have them, they're on sale at the Harvey Gantt African American Museum in Uptown Charlotte. They're in the gift store and then they're online on our smokingrepeats.com. And then, we're invited to go different places to display them. They're very unique. I call them unique, sassy fly pieces, very like statement pieces. But when I tell you, it keeps my mind off of, the dark side that I
Yeah.
have to go into sometimes. Yeah.
Yeah, it's important to have an outlet. I mean,
Mhm.
seriously, something other than drinking. I mean,
Right. Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, it's just important to have an outlet. And yeah, those are some I've been following you around Charlotte, and you guys are very expansive here in the community. And
It's
I'm
been a
I'm
blessing.
glad to know you. You are.
Thank
I've
you.
been following
Yeah.
you and you guys have been putting it out there and I'm definitely in support of you for everything. I
Thank
am
you.
You do have a beautiful daughter. I would love to invite her. She is an herbalist, a naturalist, and
Yeah.
she has helped me and my daughter and we have gotten products for her. So I'm definitely going to ask her to come in here. You think she'd
Yeah.
like to come to Dr. Deb's show? Because I
You
would
know,
love to have her.
she's so shy. So where it would be
Oh
great,
my gosh, she's shy.
listen, she has been invited so many times. She's been in business now, in practice
Oh,
for 8
wow.
years. She's
Yes.
never done a podcast. She's never the television stations have come to her like during the George Floyd protest that was
Yes.
going on. They came and they interviewed her to see how can people help themselves naturally. Oh gosh, anything that had been happening in a few years back, but they will always come to her and she'd be nervous. Like, I don't want to do it. You
Oh,
do it. I said, I can't do it. I'm not the herbalist. I don't know what to say. If they want to
yes.
talk about grief, okay, we can do that. She
That's
says,
okay.
no, she's so
I
afraid.
know.
She's so not afraid, but she's so shy.
Yes.
She's the
Yes.
total opposite of me. I'm like, come on, give me the camera. I do it.
Yes.
But I have to know what I'm talking about.
Well, we will definitely have to respect that, but I am gonna ask. I'm gonna try to coerce her a little bit.
Go ahead,
What's
try.
next for you, sister? What's next for you?
Oh, what's next for me? I like to write another book. And the next book would be about after the funeral. You know, a lot of people have questions what to do afterwards, tying up loose ends and just making it through those final steps, but more on a like a technical aspect,
Mhm.
no grief grief things, but just more expanding on how to start living again.
Mm. Yeah, after the funeral is very significant because you when you're going through that process is probably on adrenaline, and then after
Mhm.
everybody's gone and everybody has hugged you and kissed you and everything, and then you have to go home, and then reality sort of sets
Yeah,
in.
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
so after the funeral is perfect. This is something a question that I have I've interviewed, I think 2 or 3 people, and I wanted to have a question that I would ask everybody, and I forgot to ask them, so I am definitely not
Okay. Oh
gonna ask
boy.
you.
Okay. Give it to me.
No, just before we wrap up, what are you most excited about in life right now?
I'm most excited about living to be, here for my grandchildren. I have two beautiful grandchildren, an 8-year-old grandson and a 6-month-old granddaughter who has been quite the challenge. And we are just now starting to bond, and it's so exciting. So I want to work less and play more with my grandchildren.
Oh man, I love that.
Mhm.
Well, I am certainly so happy that you accepted my invitation.
You're
I
welcome.
really appreciate you. You're such an amazing practitioner. You are such an amazing person. You bring so much joy and light, and you did when I first met you. You have not stopped yet. I mean, it'll be a decade, I guess now,
Yes.
coming up this year. So,
Uh-huh.
I am just so honored to have met you, and I really thank you so much for coming here. I started this channel because I wanted to face my fears, and I know that we live in fear and it is encumbering. And also because I'm a social worker and I like to bring resources to people that can help in this human experience that we're having here, and in support of humanity. It's tough down here, so we need some help. So I'm
Yeah.
always talking to my ancestors and saying, what do we need? So thank you so much. Thank you for coming to my show.
You are so welcome, my destined friend. When you meet
Yes,
people like we met, I say that those are those destined appointments. So
yes, those appointments, we set that in motion before we even got here because it was
yeah,
just like, yeah, it was so
yeah,
natural. Yeah,
yeah.
like coming into your birthday party for the first time
I
with a bunch
know.
of sisters that you didn't even know, right?
It was beautiful, yeah. But I honor your work. I honor your fearlessness of doing this because I couldn't do a podcast. I wouldn't want to do this, but I do. I honor the journey you're on. Thank you for bringing me and making me a part of it.
You are so welcome. And I would like to thank you. If you are a new viewer, welcome to the channel. If you are a returning champion, thank you so much for coming. I would love if you would leave a comment. Tell me what this podcast or what this information has done for you, and share, 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 share. I like to thank you so much for hanging out with me today, and I appreciate you coming. Peace and love.